My phone buzzed at 6:03 a.m., shattering the silence of my San Francisco apartment. I grabbed it, half asleep, expecting a work email or a spam call. Instead, it was a text from my brother, James. LOL, she'll never know, it read. My stomach twisted. I knew that tone, careless, smug, the kind he used when he thought he was clever. I typed back, he just did, and hit send before I could second-guess myself. That was the moment everything unraveled. I had been scrolling through Instagram the night before when I saw my mom's post. A photo of her, my dad, James, and a couple I didn't recognize at first, all grinning in front of a snowy mountain. The caption hit me like a punch, just us, the close ones, living the dream in Zermatt. I zoomed in, my heart racing. James was wearing the hoodie I gave him last Christmas, the one with the faded SF Giants logo. My dad's obnoxious red parka stood out against the fresh snow. This was no throwback. This was Switzerland, now, without me. I scrolled through the comments, each one a fresh cut. A family friend wrote, "Are the Alps as beautiful as they look?" My cousin Emily added, "Wow, Switzerland, living the dream." Then my Aunt Karen's comment stopped me cold, "Surprised Selena isn't there with you guys." No one replied. I sat there, staring at my phone, my chest tight. 3 weeks ago, I had suggested a family trip to Oregon, something simple, a cabin, hot springs, maybe a hike. My mom had said money was tight. James mumbled about exams. I paid for lunch that day, like I always did lately. But now, here they were, halfway across the world, using my emergency credit card. I opened my banking app, my fingers shaking. 6 airline tickets from San Francisco to Zurich, $8,700 in charges over 2 days. 4-star hotels in Interlaken, train rides, ski rentals, fondue reservations, even a hot air balloon tour. All on my card, the one with a $9,000 limit they had maxed out. I wasn't angry yet, just stunned, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart. Then James's text came through, and it clicked. He hadn't meant to send it to me. He was gloating to someone else, thinking I was too busy or too trusting to notice. I spent the next 2 hours on the phone, my voice steady but my hands trembling. I reversed every transaction I could, flagged their IDs on the booking platform, and sent a fraud notice to the ski resort with a copy of my ID. Their hotel reservations vanished. Ski passes, gone. Rental van, cancelled. Even their fancy dinner at that mountaintop revolving restaurant, wiped out. I called the bank and reported the card as stolen by someone I knew. I wasn't lying. By the time I finished, I had 5 frozen accounts and a paper trail that screamed betrayal. At 6:03 a.m., my phone started buzzing, 22 times in a row. My mom called 3 times. James, 5. My dad tried twice. Even Steve, my parents' loud friend who always brought cheap whiskey to family parties, called from a burner number. I didn't answer. But at 7:41 a.m., when my dad called again, I picked up. "Selena, we need $4,200 to fly back to San Francisco," he said, his voice tight. "Can you help us for now?" I let the silence hang. "I hope you enjoy the rest of your time there," I said. "You will have a lot to explain when you get back. Trouble is already waiting." Then I hung up. I wasn't done. Not even close. They thought they could use me, post their perfect vacation, and laugh behind my back. But I had their passport numbers, their booking receipts, their faces on hotel check-ins, all in my travel wallet. They had used my digital life like it was theirs. Now they were stuck in Zermatt, and I was just getting started. I stood in my apartment, staring out the window at the San Francisco fog rolling in, my phone silent for the first time in hours. My family was stranded in Zermatt, their luxury vacation in pieces, and I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and dread. They would be back in 2 days. James had enough money to cover their return, I knew that much. But I wasn't waiting for them to slink home with excuses. I had work to do. By Thursday morning, they landed in San Francisco. I didn't need to track their flight. Mrs. Langley, my parents' nosy neighbor who watched their house like a hawk, texted me at 6:12 a.m. "They are back," she wrote. Suitcases look trashed. Your dad is limping. No one smiled. Thought you should know. I was already dressed, my keys in hand. By 6:41 a.m., I pulled up across the street from their house. My mom and dad stood by the front door, looking like they were waiting for a storm to hit. James was dragging a busted suitcase up the steps while his girlfriend, Ashley, sat on it, too lazy or too entitled to help. Steve and Donna, my parents' friends who had tagged along on my dime, were in the driveway. Donna was yelling into her phone, barefoot, and Steve looked like he had just rolled out of a bar fight. I didn't bother with pleasantries. I parked, walked up, and went straight to the point. "You owe me $4,000 in non-refundable charges," I said, my voice flat. "You have 3 days." My mom blinked, like she didn't understand the words. My dad opened his mouth, but I cut him off, pulling out my phone and opening a folder labeled Fraud Docs. Screenshots of every transaction, dates, times, their names, hotel check-in records, passport scans, even their skiing itinerary, flashed on the screen. They had used my travel wallet, my saved documents, my passwords, my emergency credit line, all to book their dream trip. They hadn't just taken my money, they had raided my trust. James stepped forward, his face red. "This is insane, Selena," he said. "You are blowing this way out of proportion." I turned to him, my eyes narrowing. "You excluded me, lied to my face, took my money, and then called me dumb in a text you meant for someone else," I said. He scoffed. "It was supposed to be a trip for people who know how to relax. You wouldn't have fit in." I nodded, letting his words hang. "Yeah, I got that from the Instagram caption," I said. "Just us, the close ones." Ashley muttered something under her breath, but I didn't care enough to catch it. I turned back to my parents. "You borrowed my trust and turned it into theft," I said. I froze everything. I reversed what I could, but I am still out $4,000. "You will pay me back, or I will take this to court." My mom's face crumpled, like she was about to cry or apologize, but I raised my hand. "You used Steve and Donna's names on the bookings. That is impersonation. You had no right." I paused, letting it sink in. 3 days. Do not call. Do not text. Hey. Then I turned and walked back to my car. By the end of the day, they had scraped together the money. My Uncle Mark wired it to me that night, no message, no subject line. I heard later he gave James an hour-long lecture that ended with, "You are lucky I don't send you to rehab just for being this stupid." I marked the file, repaid, archived it, and went to bed. For the first time in weeks, I slept without dreaming of betrayal. But I wasn't done. James had crossed a line, and I was about to draw a new one he wouldn't see coming. The morning after I got the $4,000 back, I woke up to a quiet apartment. No buzzing phone, no frantic voicemails, just the hum of the city outside my window. I should have felt relieved, but something gnawed at me. James had paid me back, through Uncle Mark, of course, but there was no apology, no acknowledgement of what he had done. I knew he thought he could wait me out, act like nothing happened, and I would just move on. He was wrong. I was at my desk, sipping coffee, when James showed up outside my building. No text, no call, just him standing there in that same Giants hoodie, looking like he expected some heartfelt reunion. I stepped onto my balcony and leaned against the railing. "What do you want?" I asked. He shoved his hands in his pockets. You ruined the trip for everyone, Selena, he said. You could have handled it differently, quietly. I almost laughed. You excluded me, lied about why, used my money, mocked me, and hoped I wouldn't notice, I said. And now you want sympathy? He stared at me, his jaw tight. You act like you are better than everyone, he said. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. He wasn't worth the words. I had been paying James's tuition for the last year and a half, covering his community college fees while he chased dreams of transferring to a big university. I never asked for thanks, but I expected respect. That was over now. Later that day, I logged into the college's payment portal, opened his account, and removed my card from the autopay setup. I didn't make a speech or call him to gloat. I just disabled the payment, closed the tab, and let the deadline pass. A week later, the system flagged his unpaid balance, $6,042. A hold hit his account, no registration, no student portal access, just a polite email saying his enrollment was suspended for non-payment. James texted me first, casual as ever. Hey, something glitched with the payment. I think tuition didn't go through. Can you check it? I left it on read. Then came the call, then the voicemail, half concern, half demand. Can you just take care of this today, please? I have labs starting soon. Not a word about Switzerland, about the lies, about the text he didn't mean to send. He thought I would keep bailing him out, like always. My mom tried next, leaving 3 voicemails. The last one was nearly 5 minutes long, starting calm and turning into a lecture about forgiveness, how families make mistakes, how I needed to stop letting money define me. That line burned. Money didn't define me, it defined them, when I was paying their rent, covering James's tuition, picking up every lunch tab while they smiled and planned their secret trip. Then my dad messaged, short and cold. I understand. Do what you have to do. It hit differently, like he saw the line I had drawn but wasn't ready to cross it. James called again, furious this time. You are seriously not paying, he shouted. You are ruining my future over a vacation. That is how small you are. I kept my voice steady. I didn't ask you to book ski trips with my card or post about it while pretending I didn't exist, I said. You are a thief. Silence. Then he said something I will never forget. You were never family. You were a wallet. You just don't like being empty now. I hung up. I thought that was the worst of it. But a few days later, my Aunt Laura texted, saying I should be ashamed, that James was family, that I should have kept this private. Then a cousin, then another, even an email with some article about financial boundaries and grace. They didn't know the half of it. I was done explaining. I was done being the safety net. And I was about to find out just how far James was willing to go to keep using me. The silence from my family felt heavier each day, like a storm brewing just out of sight. I kept expecting another angry call from James or a guilt-tripping text from my mom, but nothing came. That quiet made me uneasy. I knew James too well, he wasn't the type to let things go. I should have trusted that instinct. On a Thursday afternoon, my phone rang with an unknown number. I answered, thinking it might be a client. Hello, is this Selena Palmer? A woman asked. Yes, I said, my guard up. This is Jenna from Student Accounts at Sealedge University. We have been trying to reach you regarding an unpaid tuition balance. You are listed as the financial guarantor for James Palmer. My heart stopped. There must be a mistake, I said. I never agreed to that. She paused, her voice calm but firm. We have a signed form on file with your name and signature. I demanded to see it. Within minutes, an email arrived with a PDF attachment. I opened it, and there it was, my name, my address, my phone number, and a signature that looked almost like mine but wasn't. The box checked next to assumes financial responsibility in the event of non-payment felt like a knife. James hadn't just lied or stolen, he had forged a legal document to tie me to his debt. If it wasn't resolved, the $6,042 would hit my credit. This wasn't betrayal anymore, it was war. I called Jenna back immediately, my voice shaking but clear. I filed a fraud claim, sent her my ID, real signature samples, and screenshots of my texts with James, including the one where he accidentally admitted to the Switzerland scam. She said the matter would be investigated, but until it was cleared, I was on the hook. I didn't call James. Not yet. I needed someone who would understand the weight of this. So, that weekend, I drove to my grandfather's house in the hills outside San Francisco. He was different from the rest of the family, no drama, no fake tears, just quiet wisdom and a memory like steel. I sat across from him at his small kitchen table, the forged document in front of me. I explained everything, keeping my voice steady. He read the paper slowly, his eyes narrowing, then looked up and asked one question, "Did you already report it?" I nodded. Yes. He stood, walked to a back room, and returned with a small lockbox I had never seen before. He unlocked it and pulled out a folded deed, handing it to me. It was for the family lake cabin, a place I hadn't visited since I was a kid. "I am giving this to you," he said. "No one else deserves it. I will call my lawyer on Monday." I held the deed, stunned. He had never given anything like this to anyone in our family. Then he added, "I always knew you were the only one who would grow up." I drove home, the deed on the passenger seat, my mind racing. James had crossed a line I didn't think possible, and now I owned a piece of the family's history he could never touch. That night, James called. I let it ring twice before answering. "I need you to stop," I said before he could speak. "I know you told the school. You forged my name." He didn't deny it. "I had no choice, Selena," he said. "I thought you would be cool about it, like always." "Cool about fraud?" I snapped. "It is $6,000. You could have just paid it." "I could have," I said, "but you made sure I wouldn't want to." He switched tactics, his voice desperate. "I am going to get kicked out. They are threatening collections." "Are you seriously going to leave me hanging?" "Yes," I said. "I am tired of being your insurance policy." He hung up. No insults, no pleas, just silence. But I knew this wasn't over. James had pushed me too far, and now I was ready to push back harder than he could imagine. A month passed since I learned about James's forgery, and the silence from my family grew louder. I expected more fights, more texts, more guilt trips, but they stopped. My mom sent a few cold messages about her disappointment, as if I had betrayed them by standing my ground. James's name vanished from the university directory, he was officially out, no classes, no backup plan. I thought I would feel triumphant, but instead, I felt a quiet resolve. I wasn't their safety net anymore, and I was okay with that. Then, one afternoon, James texted. "It is James. Can we talk?" My first thought was, why now? But I agreed. We met at a rundown coffee shop near the community college he used to mock. He looked worn, thinner, older, like life had finally caught up with him. He didn't bother with small talk. "I know I went too far," he said, his eyes on the table. "I didn't realize what you were carrying until it all fell on me. I made excuses because it was easier than changing." I waited, letting him continue. "I didn't just screw up your money," he said. "I screwed up how you saw us. That is what I regret most." I leaned back, my arms crossed. "I do not hate you, James," I said. "But I do not trust you either." He nodded, like he expected it. Then he surprised me. "I want to pay you back," he said. "Little by little, even if it takes years." I didn't respond. I just stood, nodded, and left. I didn't offer forgiveness or promise to stay in touch. Some debts go beyond money, and I wasn't ready to settle that one. The next weekend, I drove to the lake cabin my grandfather had given me. The air was crisp, the lake half frozen, and the quiet felt like a gift. I opened every window, letting the cold sweep through, and built a fire in the old stone fireplace. I sat on the porch with a mug of coffee, watching the water ripple, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was guarding my peace, I was living it. My phone stayed off. No one knew I was there. The cabin was mine, not just on paper, but in every way that mattered. A week later, my dad showed up at my apartment, unannounced, leaning against the stair railing. "I just want to talk," he said. "Not to fix anything, just to be honest." I let him speak. He admitted they had leaned on me too much, expected too much, and let James believe he was entitled to everything. "I didn't agree with how you handled it at first," he said, "but you were right to draw a line." He extended his hand. I shook it, not because everything was okay, but because it felt like enough for now. That night, James texted again. "All you had to do was help like before," he wrote. "You destroyed everything." I read it once, archived it, and moved on. He didn't get it, but I didn't need him to. Over the next few months, things shifted. My cousin Ethan texted, saying he admired how I stood up for myself. He had stopped lending money to his parents, inspired by my boundaries. Another cousin left a toxic family group chat. Even one of James's friends messaged me, saying, "You are not the bad guy, Selena. We are kind of impressed." My grandfather's lawyer called, too. The cabin transfer was finalized, and he had updated his will, naming me his sole inheritor. He said he no longer trusts the others, the lawyer told me. I didn't ask for that, but it felt like my grandfather saw me, the real me, not the wallet they had used. Now, a year after Switzerland, I go to the cabin every month. I sit by the lake, no guests, no noise, just me. The betrayal, the forged signature, the Instagram post, they are just background noise now. I am not bitter. I am free. I learned that family isn't a free pass to hurt you, and love isn't a transaction. The moment I stopped giving, I became whole. And every time I lock the cabin door, I know I am not just surviving them, I am thriving without them.